Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. Now, I'm not talking about the piece of shit DS version. That one can go to hell. I'm talking more along the lines of the awesome console versions, particularly the Wii one. Picking up from the good ending from the first game, you apparently are a clone of Starkiller being used by Darth Vader, but when he escapes, he can't seem to remember that he was fighting for the Rebels or something like that. Okay, the story makes no sense. But that's not the main focus here. The main focus is how it plays. I just love the gameplay in this game. Each of your force powers works differently in this game, and they're all so much fun to use. They make you feel like a real badass, too. Force Lightning, you are a total thunder god. Force Push, you'll never get tired of flinging enemies backwards. Force Grip, Jean Grey got nothing on you, man. Truth be told, this game is rather short, and the few bosses there are leave something to be desired. But for what it's worth, this is a pretty fun experience. Even if you don't care about the story, I would recommend this to any Star Wars fan. For a short ride, it's a pretty good one. Medal of Honor Warfighter. While there are fans of this game, a lot of critics seem to hate it. The three things they complain about are the bugs, the AI, and the driving sections. Yes, there were bugs. That's what updates are for. Besides, it's not like some bugs are going to ruin a game forever. Far Cry 3 had bugs and it managed to be good. Dead Island had bugs and it managed to be good. Never Dead had bugs and it, well, still was a disgusting piece of garbage. But that's just because the game itself was awful, and that's what people should really judge a game for after a while. Yes, it's fair to judge the game by the bugs if they aren't fixed, but if they are fixed eventually, you shouldn't judge them for it. I didn't see anything to complain about the AI. It seemed to be just as fluid as any game in the Call of Duty series. It may have just been my experience with the game, but that's up to you to judge. The driving stages were boring, but they weren't the main focus of the game, so I can forgive them for that. The main focus was the multiplayer. This is actually a pretty interesting multiplayer. It seems to be a combination of the Call of Duty and Battlefield multiplayer in that it has Call of Duty's game sizes and kill streaks, but Battlefield's class system and squad-style play. I also really like the nations mechanics in that you can play for your home team, and earn tokens to represent how well your country is doing around the world. First-person shooters aren't for everyone, but if you like them, give this game a try. That's all I can ask of you. Resident Evil 6. I'm someone who actually likes the modern Resident Evil games over the early ones, so it figures that I would like this game. I'll go over the modern ones first. Resident Evil 4. The game in the series that everyone knows and loves. Great combat mechanics, interesting story, and being an absolute joy to play make this game a fun experience. Resident Evil 5. This is the game that critics like, but fans hate. They seem to not like the gameplay that much, but I quite like it, honestly. Having the inventory screen not pause the game kind of adds some intensity to it all. The co-op is pretty fun as well. Resident Evil 6. Here, a lot of people, even the critics, seem to hate this game. One common complaint about this game is the cover system. Yeah, I don't like the cover system either. I think it's clunky and doesn't fit well. That doesn't mean it has to be used. There aren't that many enemies in the game that are ranged, and even when you encounter them, it's just as easy to get behind a wall or something as you would in any other game. Another complaint that seems to be common is the campiness. Yeah, it can be rather campy at times, but if a game is campy, it still doesn't hurt the story much usually. And even if it does, the story can be ignored if the game itself is good. Probably the most complaint I hear is that the game isn't like the old survival horror games. Folks, let's face it, you should have seen this coming. Resident Evil 4 and 5 are rather departed from survival horror, so it should have been expected in this game too. Even if you didn't predict it from that, all the commercials and reports clearly showed the game headed towards the action genre of gaming. I personally think that the action works to the advantage of this game. Fighting off zombies is more fun than ever with the great combat system, and the weapons are pretty fun as well. I'll admit that I would have preferred that they kept the upgrade system over the perk system, but it's still not bad. Since you can now leap, roll, and shoot while moving in this game, you'll have an easier time fighting zombies than before, and it definitely looks cool when you break from your run into a slide while shooting zombies. Just try and tell me that you don't feel like a badass while doing that. I can understand that there are some people out there who will never like Resident Evil, and I can cope with that. But if you happen to like this series, at least give this one a try. Even if you don't like this game as a whole, there will at least be a couple of things for you. Luigi's Mansion. I know you're all expecting this to be number 1, right? I mean, you all love this game and know that it deserves less hatred than it gets, right? Well, that's kind of why it's not number 1. Don't get me wrong, I love this game, but because for everyone that hates it, there seems to be 2 that like it, it's not number 1. But I still think that it doesn't deserve the hatred it gets. This is a rather big departure from the Mario franchise. How big, you may ask? Luigi can't even jump. That's right, one of the Mario brothers, the bros known famously for their jumping ability, can't jump at all in this game. So as you can imagine, it's a pretty big departure. It's definitely not a bad thing though. The game's main shtick of going through a haunted mansion to suck up ghosts is fun to no end. You not only feel like a Ghostbuster, you feel cooler than a Ghostbuster. You not only suck up ghosts in this game, you find treasure, learn about secrets of Mario's disappearance, shoot fire, water, and ice from your equipment, and defeat the literal king of creepy ghosts. The funny thing is, whenever someone hates on this game, they usually don't provide a reason for it. The few times someone has provided a reason is that the game is too short. I really don't think so. This game has quite a few bonus objectives to it, and collecting a bunch of treasure can be quite time-consuming. I don't remember a playthrough of this game that took me less than 10 hours. Any true fan of the Mario franchise like me should take a look at this game. No matter what anyone says, it's worth your time. I do have one complaint though. Why did it take Nintendo so long to make a sequel? I mean, the idea was obvious from the start. Nintendo, get on the ball quicker in the future. Before we get to number 1, let's recap. Number 10, Command & Conquer Generals. Number 9, SpongeBob SquarePants Creature from the Krusty Krab. Number 8, Super Paper Mario. Number 7, The Metal Slug Games. Number 6, Star Fox Assault. Number 5, Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. Number 4, Medal of Honor Warfighter. Number 3, Resident Evil 6. And number 2, Luigi's Mansion. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. That's your number 1? You little bitch! How dare you say that game is better than Luigi's Mansion? Just because it's higher than Luigi's Mansion doesn't mean I like it better. But that doesn't change the fact that the game is still horrible, and you're a horrible person for liking it! Well, what don't you like about the game? Enlighten me. The new weapons are awful! They're terrible! Nothing redeemable about them at all! Why does everyone complain about the new weapons? I mean, yeah, there are new weapons, but they did that to make things more interesting. And not to mention, I like a lot of the new ones. I don't see what all the fuss is over them. But the game doesn't change at all! It's just the same as the first 2 Modern Warfare games! Well, it's true that they kept a lot of things the same, but it's a Call of Duty game. They have to keep the formula to its roots somehow. And yeah, I would have liked it better if they did more stuff with it, but I'm just glad that they at least changed things a little and didn't go too overboard. Black Ops 2. But the multiplayer is boring, and that's the most important part of every Call of Duty game. I don't think so. I mean, as I said, there are new weapons, and also there are new killstreak rewards, which can be a lot of fun to use. Not to mention new perks, and the specialist system. That's pretty fun. So, yeah, overall, I think that even though this game wasn't as good as it could have been, it was still a pretty fun experience. It's the Call of Duty I still play regularly, and I can respect other people's opinions if they don't like it. You're uncontrollable! You're unable to listen to reason! I'm gonna tell my mom about this! And I'm gonna whine on all the message boards, too! Please, go do that. I want you out of my face right now. Good! I will! I'm the Gaming Cat, and the reason why my couch is different is because I'm currently on vacation at the time of filming this. I wonder how my home is doing.
What the hell?